Welcome to 2026. Does it feel like the tech world has changed more in the last couple of years than it did in the 20 before that? Well, you're not going crazy. That incredible pace of change, that is the new normal. So the big question is, how do you stay ahead of the curve? In this explainer, we're going to cut right through the noise and show you the high-income skills you absolutely need to know to future-proof your career.
Remember the early 2020s? Man, it was all about buzzwords and hype and what might happen. Well, that's over. The hype phase is officially done. All those technologies that felt like they were way off on the horizon, they've landed. And now they are the absolute bedrock for every single business on this planet. This stuff isn't optional anymore. It is the very core of how modern industry works.
So, with all this change, where do you even start? Where should you focus your energy? Well, it really just boils down to these three foundational pillars: artificial intelligence, cloud computing, and cybersecurity. And here's the key takeaway. These aren't separate fields anymore. Not at all. They are deeply woven together. And really understanding them is the ticket to landing the most valuable, most future-proof roles of 2026. Okay, let's dive right in with our first pillar, the AI engine. Think of this as the brains of the operation. This is where we take the incredible power of artificial intelligence and feed it the raw fuel of data. It's all about turning mountains of information into actual, actionable intelligence. And believe me, it is changing absolutely everything.
You know, by 2026, thinking about AI as just another feature is like saying the engine is just a feature in a car. No way. It is the car. The game has changed. Companies aren't just plugging into some third-party tool anymore. The real players, the ones leading the pack, are building their own proprietary in-house models to automate super complex workflows and get a massive leg up on the competition.
And this is where data comes in. We've all heard that phrase a million times, right? Data is the new oil. But that's only half the story. Crude oil is just useless black goo until you refine it. It's the exact same thing with data. The big shift we're seeing is moving away from just looking in the rearview mirror. Historical reports telling us what already happened. Now it's all about predictive modeling, forecasting what will happen. That, my friends, is the real game changer.
So what does that mean for you? What skills do you need? Well, it's not enough to just use AI anymore. The real value, the high-income jobs, are in building with it. That means you've got to understand things like generative AI architecture, and you need to master advanced prompt engineering, which, by the way, has become its own seriously complex discipline. You need to get your hands dirty with model development and fine-tuning. And the tools of the trade? Well, Python is still the undisputed king, with libraries like PyTorch and TensorFlow as its heavy hitters. But you also need SQL to handle the data, and then tools like Tableau or Power BI to actually tell a story with it.
All right, so we've got our AI engine, but where does this engine live and run? That brings us to our second huge pillar, the secure cloud. Just think of this as the global infrastructure that everything else is built on top of. And in this world, cloud computing and cybersecurity are two sides of the same absolutely essential coin. You can't have one without the other.
Because pretty much every business now operates in the cloud. That means our collective digital attack surface has just exploded. It's massive. And the threats, they're way more sophisticated, often powered by AI themselves. This means that securing a company's digital assets has shifted from being just another task for the IT department to being a fundamental requirement for the company's very survival.
So what's in demand here? Well, experts in multi-cloud architecture are huge because companies do not want to be locked into just one provider. That makes roles like cloud architects and administrators completely indispensable. And you have to have a deep understanding of concepts like zero-trust architecture, which basically just means never trust, always verify, for every single thing, and data encryption. As for the platforms, look, it's non-negotiable. You have to know the big three: AWS, Microsoft Azure, and Google Cloud.
And this right here is where it all clicks into place. The ultimate super skill for 2026 is being able to connect these pillars. Just imagine it. You develop a powerful AI model using Python. Then you deploy it out into a cloud environment, AWS, Azure, you name it. And then you secure it, manage it, and lock it down using those zero-trust principles. A professional who can do that whole pipeline from start to finish, they're not just valuable, they are practically unstoppable.
This brings us to our final pillar, the development stack. So we've got the AI engine, we've got the secure infrastructure to run it on. Now we need the actual software. We need the specialized programming languages to build the powerful, modern applications that live and breathe in this new environment.
In the world of modern development, two languages are really pulling ahead of the pack.
For big professional projects, TypeScript has pretty much overtaken plain old JavaScript. Why? Because its type safety is an absolute lifesaver when you're dealing with the massive, complex codebases we're building in 2026. Then, on the back end, for all that cloud infrastructure and microservices stuff, Go, or Golang, is the undisputed champ. It is incredibly fast, super efficient, and was literally built for this new era of the web.
But hey, don't count out the veterans. Java is far, far from a legacy language. It is still the absolute backbone for huge enterprise systems and for things like high-frequency trading platforms, where stability and raw performance are everything. In its domain, Java is still an absolute powerhouse.
Okay, so we've covered the what. That's a ton of information. But now let's get to the most important part, the how. How do you take all this and actually build a personal roadmap to make sure your career is ready for the future? Here is probably the most crucial piece of advice I can give you. You do not need to be a master of all three of these pillars. That's just impossible. The real winning strategy is to go deep and become a true expert in one of them. Pick AI or cloud or development and then become conversational in the other two. It's the classic T-shaped skill set, and it makes you both a specialist and an incredibly valuable team player.
So here's a simple 4-step plan you can start today, right now. First, choose your pillar. Which one of these really excites you? Go with that. Second, get certified. An AWS or Azure certification is like a passport. It's a clear signal to employers you have the skills. You can find courses everywhere online. Third, and this is so important, build a portfolio. Get on GitHub and start making things. This is your real-world proof that you can do the work. And finally, the most important step of all, stay consistent. This world moves at lightning speed, but it always rewards the people who move with it.
At the end of the day, the future is being built right now. It's being built with code, with data, and on secure infrastructure. The skills we've talked about today, those are the blueprints. So the only question left for you is, are you going to be one of the architects, or are you going to be a spectator watching it all happen? The choice is all yours.